Well, here's our sixth interview, I think, in our series for the Sustainable Transportation Series. And I'm here with Gus Gosselin, who started the MSU Bike Project in 2003, and that's kind of where we first met. But we'll talk more about that, or go ahead if you want to say anything about that.
Nothing, I'm just waiting for your question.
So we're inside the MSU Bike Service Center, and I thought we'd do a little walk around in here because there's some construction outside and it's a little noisy out there. And Gus made this center possible, so yeah, let's just walk around and see what's up. Our staff up here is Aaron Riley and Gloria Chow behind the camera and Colin Lechner behind sound. So
Glad to meet you all.
yeah, so yeah, this used to be the canoe rental facility, and it had a couple restrooms and a big long counter from here out to there, and that's about all we had. Those windows weren't even there. This doorway was just a much narrower doorway, two metal doors actually, two little tiny windows. It was not very inviting. So we transformed all of this in the summer of 2006, once we identified this as a underutilized space.
Right.
Did you have anything to do with that, with helping us select this space?
Well, no, actually, that was one of the vice president, whose name escapes me now.
Fred.
That
Poston.
Poston's assistant.
Kathy.
Kathy,
Lindahl, yes.
Kathy Lindahl, you're right.
Yes.
Who saw this as being underutilized and thought, matter of fact, at first she wanted us to be a bike canoe shop.
Right.
And then when we demonstrated that the canoe shop lost money, then we kind of got rid of the canoes. And it became just the bike shop it is today.
Yes. Yeah, I remember when we first walked in here, there were just, racks of canoes in the back there, which were aluminum, so they really didn't need to be stored indoors anymore. I think when they built the space, it was back when in the late 50s or early 60s, and the canoes, I think, were still wooden, so they needed to be stored, indoors someplace
yeah.
for protection.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were some hot dog carts, so they actually did some hot dog vending or stored those inside here. But so yeah, let's take a look. So this is the showroom area,
Yeah.
which we took over one of the restrooms and made into more showroom space, and obviously got bigger, better doors and windows. Aubrey sits right here, our service manager, and before.
Hey Gus, good to see you again.
Same here.
So we had to do a lot of conversion of the utilities.
Yeah.
We repainted, ran electricity where we needed it. This is Jacob Ross, one of our other mechanics.
Oh, we should make it clear though that most of the stuff in here was your doing, I was pretty much, can't say totally out of the picture then, but after we got this space, pretty much it was Tim that conceived all of this, packed 5 pounds or 10 pounds in a 5-pound bag, as they say.
Well, this is like maybe our 5th or 6th variation of how we're storing stuff. We were blessed with very tall ceilings, I think about 16 feet. So we figured out how to utilize as much of it as possible, and we keep figuring out different ways to pack this stuff in. But yeah, we it's starting to show a little bit of age, but it's worked well. We've processed thousands of bikes through here over the 20 years. We're in our 20th year now, which is pretty amazing. We're doing a new logo with the established 2006. We're going to add to this and doing some special signage for this year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as soon as we moved in, we realized this is not as big as we thought. And it was,
Right.
we packed it in, and it's pretty much the way we've been rolling. It's just always packed.
Yeah, we tried to get one of the bicycle shops around campus to come in campus to help us out, but they were not interested. They felt the students didn't give them enough business, and they didn't believe in if you build it, they will come, And as Tim can say, since we built this, it's been keeping people pretty busy and doing a lot of bike work and bike sales.
We've employed probably well over 100 different people over the 20 years. I'd have to go through and count, but it's
at least,
a lot
I'd
of
say.
employees, a lot of student employees, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been it's been fun. Some of them went on to stay in the bike industry and work within either for-profit or some nonprofit. It'd be nice to hear from more of them out there. Drop us a line. So, any other thoughts about the Physical Bike Center? I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
it's a pretty great place.
yeah.
You know,
Thank
one of the questions you asked me on the paper to prep me was, did I imagine it would ever be like this? I never did. You know, when I thought about doing bikes on campus, well, can I start right from the beginning? Can I do that?
Sure. That's
Well,
a good time.
I rent a cabin in the North Woods of Ontario, and I used to take my bicycle there because the nearest town is 30-some miles away, and there's lots of hills up there, maybe bigger than hills. And every year that was kind of my gauge to see if I was better than last year. And I had my bike next to the cabin that I rented. Next door to me, the other cabin, a couple from Georgia rented it. And when he saw my bike, of course, we started talking about bicycling. And turns out he was a bicycle shop owner in Georgia. And he went to, I don't recall which university in Georgia. And he was telling me, we got talking about the bikes being abandoned on campus. And he got talking about how him and some buddies in Georgia started a program where they got those bikes and fixed them up, and then they just left them on campus for people to just use, you know. And I thought, hey, we maybe could do that here. So when I got back, I started checking with people, and actually I talked to Terry Link, you mentioned him, and I'm really lazy, and I just gave the idea to Terry Link, and somehow Terry has the ability to get you to do the work. And next thing you know, I'm talking with a whole lot of people trying to get this going. The first obstacle was the lawyers, and we had to talk to them to see if that was okay to do. It took them a year to come back and say, yeah, bicycling is a normal recreation activity, and we're not worried about getting sued because people use our bicycle that we provide. And then the next obstacle was the, what do we call the police
Risk
department?
management? Oh, police and parking.
Yeah, the police department, mainly because we have all sorts of rules about how bikes are supposed to be locked up and parked on campus. And so we had to go through that. We couldn't just, I was thinking that we would get the bikes, fix them. In fact, my original name for the thing was the Ugly Yellow Bike Project. And we brush painted the bikes yellow by hand. And my good buddy here, he was right there from the front. He just hated that. Not so much for the cheap bike, but when we had a Trek or a Bianchi or a name bike and we was painting it yellow, you know, you could see that his hair kind of,
Well, especially if they were originally blue, because
Yeah.
some of that blue would still be there with the yellow, and I was like, this isn't good. Not on this campus.
so that, and along with, but anyway, I was planning to just paint them yellow so they would be spottable and just put them on campus where people could just use them. Well, they got to be locked. So now you can't just have bikes that can use to lock them. So then the idea progressed, well, we'll get them ready and we will provide them to departments for their people to use. And Tim had the idea, at that point, why stop with department? Let's do that for students too. And actually, probably the successful part of the program is more the students than the departments, you know? And so we finally got through that. And also, we still were painting them yellow, but after 1 year, a lot of people were saying yellow is the other school's color and all of that. So we quit painting them and we just fixed them up and started renting them at a pretty good price, pretty good level.
There was a donation earlier,
That's
before
right.
this.
At first we were
Right.
asking for just donation to pay for the parts that we had to put on the bikes.
And a lock. I think we were also providing a lock.
Provide a lock. So we started doing that, and our first place to work on bikes, which fortunately was summertime, was under an awning by the physical plant storage building down in the South 40. And and then when we needed an indoor place, they put us in the basement of Dem Hall, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We had a
Thanks to
cage.
you found that space.
Yep, yeah, we got some space in the basement of Dem Hall. And then Vice President Poston, we were talking about, I had learned that a few universities had bike shops on campus. And I thought, why not here? And when I talked with Vice President Poston, he said, give me a business proposal. So we, in fact, Tim and I went and we toured in California, right?
UC Davis.
UC Davis, which is kind of the grandfather of having
Yes.
bike shops on campus. You know, we were at that time where they had been like 30 years before.
Yeah.
So we gleaned a lot from them. We went to Santa Cruz,
Santa Cruz
and
yeah.
Stanford.
And Stanford, yeah. It's three.
And also by phone, I talked to the people at MIT. They had a bike shop. Actually, their bike shop was totally student run in the dormitory room in one of their dorms. And actually, I plagiarized their business plan. You know, just changed the name and a few things. And Vice President Poston thought it was a good idea. So then we needed a space for this, and as you heard us say earlier, Vice President Lindahl said, why not use the canoe livery, you know, which has been here. You know. So
Here we are.
here we are. I mean, I never thought it would grow to be this. As a matter of fact, he sell the used bikes, and I would say, I guess I'm cheap because I kept telling him, you can't sell them for that much money. And his reply was always, well, they buy them. You know, so he's kind of turned it, you know, a lot of credit goes to Tim. You know, I don't know if you ever told them that you were a racer and you've done all sorts of things. You've been in bike all your life pretty much.
Yeah, very, very many years. They get to hear a lot of my stories.
Yeah, that's good.
That's
People
what-
get to hear a lot of mine too.
It's part of their job. They got to listen
Yeah, I see.
without falling asleep.
So we're one of a few universities. I don't think even U of M, I don't think they have a bike shop yet, do they?
Nope. They just, they have a lot of bike shops around them. So I think a lot of universities just think, well, why do we need our own when there's shops all around?
Well,
And there's a
there
good
was-
reason.
There's 3 or 4 shops not far from here, and when we talked to them, all of them didn't think they got enough student business to be worthwhile to step on campus.
Or they didn't really appreciate a lot of the work, because we end up doing a lot of work that I think they really would rather not do, on the bikes that are in really rough shape.
Mm-hmm.
So we work on a lot of very rough bikes, and they deal with the higher end bikes, which I think, all of us would probably agree it's more fun to work on the higher end, cleaner bikes maybe, but there's probably a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Great, well, why don't we move outside there? All right, well, now we're outside on our beautiful deck overlooking the Red Cedar River, Erickson Hall, and our bike center right behind us, which is Bessie Hall. So this has been a great home for us. Right in the center, right on the river trail, very active part of campus. While we're talking, we'll probably see a lot of people going back and forth behind us. So, yeah, this has been a great location. And we're going to be updating the signage, by the way. We've had some generous donors, and so we're going to do a facelift of sorts.
nice.
So it's going to look even better here soon, we hope.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, do you want to maybe talk about the bike-friendly university aspect of things that you helped shepherd along the way?
Well, I one of the things that I realized, I used to ride my bike to work from Perry, Michigan
Yes.
to university. It's a 21-mile one-way ride.
Incredible.
And then when I was on campus, like everybody else, I drove a car to my meetings. And one day, there was no car available. And, I kind of went through a little hissy fit, don't they know who I am? I don't have a car. I got to go to this meeting. It's important, blah, blah, blah. And then it hit me. I ride a bike 20 miles to work. Why don't I just ride a bike to my meeting? The furthest it can be on campus is like 1.5 miles, maybe 2. So I got on a bike, got to the meeting, and we're sitting in a conference room waiting, and then 15 minutes late, one of my compadres shows up, and he's very apologetic because being 15 minutes late, and he said, I was looking for a place to park. And that's when I went, ding! I'd relax coming here, didn't have to worry about a place to park and all of that, and from that day on, I rode my bicycle throughout campus. The campus on its own was starting to put bike lanes at that point, so I can't say I take credit for all the bike lanes, but we were involved with the bicycling and so on, and we had a transportation committee with a bicycling subcommittee that both Tim and I sat on, and we started pushing for bike lane whenever they modified a road. And administration decided to do that. So they started adding a bicycle lane, and then I've been a member of the American Bicyclists
League of American Bicyclists.
League of American Bicyclists.
Yes.
Thank you. And I knew they had a bicycle-friendly city, bicycle-friendly business, and about that time they came out with bicycle-friendly university.
Thanks to us. We helped push them in that direction.
Yeah, that's
too.
right, because we were applying for bicycle-friendly community or business.
And it was confusing, like which one, and neither one really fit.
Yep. So they came up with a university. Yeah, you're right. And even though we helped them come up with that idea, we didn't make it the first year, did we?
Well, we got a pretty low-level award,
Yeah.
bronze, I think. Started
Yeah.
low.
Yeah. The only thing that was great is we got a bicycle-friendly award before U of M did.
Yes,
Should say that. You know?
yes,
So-
we did.
So anyway.
But Dr. Poston, mentioned, I think it was thanks to him, and around the year 2000 started the whole concept of what became complete streets. So that every street that got touched on campus got improved for both pedestrians and bicyclists. So I
Yep.
owe him a lot for a lot of what we see on campus.
Yep, and out of that we got a couple of spots in the garage, ramp 6, the new
Yes.
ramp, and ramp 5,
Right.
where we have a locker-like place there where we can store bikes inside. You know, people that commute with their bikes can put them inside in case of inclement weather. You know, statistics shows that almost 90% of the people that come to the university live within 5 miles of the university. You know, 5 miles on a bicycle is easy to do.
Yeah.
Even if you never bike, as long as you know how to bike, you don't need to be super experienced. You don't need to be an endurance person. You don't need to be able to do 20 miles in one ride.
Right. You don't have to dress a certain way or have a certain bike.
That's right.
It's very doable.
You know, and that, if I have a regret, is just we haven't been able to, at least, I don't know, maybe we have since I retired, but we weren't able to really increase people's opinion of biking to campus. You know,
It's a tough nut to crack.
but the university, what are we at now? Are we gold yet?
We're gold.
We're
Yeah,
gold.
we were gold 2 cycles ago, and then we renewed again, and kept our gold status. So, yep, we've been gold for a while.
Yeah, to keep your status, you got to keep on improving, and if you want to move up, you got to improve more. The
Right.
next level is
Platinum.
platinum.
Yes. So we're on the march to platinum, we hope. So on that point,
So-
what do you have some ideas of what you see around here? I know you don't spend as much time on campus anymore, but do you have any ideas or dreams for what might be doable to get to that platinum for us, for this university?
Well, you know, there's 6 points now, right? 6 E's.
Yes.
Education. I don't know how well we do in education. We did a little bit, but not strong there.
We're helping.
Engineering, that's providing the spaces. We do okay there.
That's our strong point. Engineering or the facilities has always been our strong point.
Yep, yep.
There used to be enforcement, but they changed the name to something else because enforcement wasn't in vogue
Yeah,
for
it
a
should
while.
it should be called encouragement or something
Well,
like
there is
that.
encouragement. That's in there,
Yeah.
and then there's assessment, which isn't an E, but they're evaluation,
Evaluation, yeah. But-
and then I think they threw in equity as maybe their 6th E
They
a
sh-
few years back.
Yeah, they should throw in an I, somehow come up with some incentive. You know,
Incentives. I think that's part of marketing encouragement. I think it's
Encouragement, yeah,
thrown
you're right.
in there.
Yeah. So, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know what you can do to help realize, you know, it seems, I know I got some young people here. Young people like to drive cars. And I can remember when I was a teenager, I had gasoline on the brain. And I used to ride a bike, and I went through a phase where I didn't. And then after college, I went back to riding a bike, you know. So, and when I was, I went to a little college, so
Hold on a second. We might-
young people, you know, I don't know about nowadays. In fact, my wife on the way here asked me, do you think more people ride bikes today than when you were young? She says, I think they do. And I said, I don't think so, because
Mm.
even though when I was that age, we had gasoline on the brain, we didn't have any money to do anything with it, so we rode bikes. I don't know today if there's more bicycle on the per capita, or it's still gasoline on the brain type of thing. You want to drive a car.
Well, during COVID, there was certainly a boom in outdoor physical activity, but then we also saw a boom in the new electrical assist devices. So now we're seeing, I think, a bit of a tapering in the bicycling, the traditional type, and now an explosion really in electric assist
E-bikes,
scooters,
yeah.
E-bikes, e-scooters, one wheels, longboards. We see all kinds of electric assist, which is, really it's very similar to a car in that it doesn't require any physical effort. So, but it is a smaller footprint, so maybe environmentally it's an improvement, but it's for me it's kind of sad to see what appear to be healthy young people not getting any exercise going A to B, which I see as kind of unfortunate, but it is somewhat of an improvement.
Yeah. Well, the campus is a beautiful place to go bicycling around. Parking is bare to try to find a space. Matter of fact, my wife, I don't know what she's doing. I told her drive around or go park in a Kellogg ramp, but you'll have to pay to get out.
Yeah.
And I told her we could probably walk over there and she can wait for us over there. We're going to go to Brody. So anyway, that's the one thing that, how do you convince people that bicycling is better?
It's tough. I mean, Gloria and Aaron and I, we worked on a number of public service announcement type infomercials to help incoming students and their parents help think about how they're going to get around when they come to campus. And so we've been doing a lot more in that encouragement, educational side of things through our own social media, which, we're just a very small crew, but we see that nobody else is really going to do it and hasn't really done it. So
well, that's one thought I was thinking of too. Yeah, it's come up with a public announcement about try biking and stuff like that.
Gloria's done a great job, and Aaron as well.
Some people across the state have heard about MSU Bicycle Project. I did the Dalmatian like 15 times, and one of the times I did it, we're sitting at lunchtime at a picnic table, and there's a whole bunch of people there, and my buddy used my name, and one guy says, Gus, are you Gus Gosselin? I says, yes. Bike Project, MSU. And I said, well, yeah, I was involved with that. And then he starts telling his friend about renting a bike. I think back then we were renting it for $90 per term.
Semester.
And he was saying it's the best thing since sliced bread. His daughter had the bike. They fixed the bike if it's go bad. $90 at the end of the term, turn the bike back in, and we're done with it. And he went on for it. An embarrassing 15, 20 minutes about it.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, but it's too bad that it's not as well known as it might seem. It's really not well known.
Well, we try, but the university population turns over so often every 4 years with the students, and then faculty and staff come and go, and it's a lot of people will say, "Oh, I never knew we had a bike shop," but it's like, well, we've been here.
20 years, you say?
Yeah,
wow.
20 years. This is it's a very special year for us. Any other thoughts?
Not really.
Well, thanks so much for.
You guys got questions?
Time. Oh, they got lots of questions. They ride their bikes every day. You saw them. They came in. Well, you didn't see Colin come in, but he rides every day. Gloria rides every day. I ride every day. Most of us do. So we try to have a feel for what our customers are dealing with when they're out and about. So it's.
Yeah, I got to sign up for some tours next year. That's what I used to use as my motivation to ride every day. Was I got to get ready for a tour. Yeah, since Nancy, my first wife got leukemia, and I call it. I fell off the bike then, and I do. If I did 100 miles this year so far, I'd be amazed. So.
Well, I'll have to help get you out there, give you some ideas, and maybe we can do some together on a tandem. I think you still have a tandem, or?
Yeah, Well, no, I didn't sell it. I gave
Oh.
it to that Piak.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got two, so maybe you can ride on one of mine.
Yeah, I couldn't get anybody. I got it because I thought, I went on Goba.
Oh,
One of
Ohio,
those
right?
two. Yeah, Great Ohio Bicycle Adventure. It's one of those. It might have been the Palm. And I have my grandson with me, and he's in front of me, and he's, just like this. And in my rearview mirror, I see cars coming, and I'm hoping, get back. And it was traumatic,
nerve-wracking.
Nerve-wracking
Yeah.
is a good word. So I've got the tandem, and for some reason, people are afraid of it.
Mm.
I mean, some of them would shake so much I could hardly control the bike in the front.
Well, yeah, there's so many other things that come to mind. I'll just close with one thing. One thing I admire about you is when you go to meetings and you're meeting with the top level of the university, you would make a point of bringing your helmet in with you and setting it on the table, and just to let everybody in the room know that you rode your bike to the meeting. And I always admired that, and I try to practice that. I always bring my helmet into the meeting
Yeah.
in your honor. So
Well, thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thanks again, Gus, for all you did to help make this possible and make the university as bike friendly as it is.
Well, you've kept the flame. You kept the flame up since then, anyway. So you deserve a lot of the credit.
Pretty soon I'll be turning it over to some others. So
Well, you think about retirement? How many years you got in
that's
now?
a different interview. I got 25 years in with the university and 20 years doing this.
Wow.
But anyway, thanks again for joining us for a sustainable transportation chat.
Okay.
All right.